Hi YouTube, I am doing a quick video, hopefully quick video, but I do get quite passionate about this subject because it affects every single one of us on this planet. I haven't got children myself, I've got lots of nieces and nephews and I care a lot about them all. And it's going to affect them and it's going to affect their children. So it's going to affect my legacy, your legacy. Yes, we're talking about climate change. And I do get really passionate about it, and I'm going to bust in some facts here. I'm going to bust in some figures that hopefully are going to make you think. So this is the worldmeters.info that I've been talking about, and it's got some really quite frightening figures in here that you can kind of have a look at. Now take note of these sort of figures and then have a look at what it is when you jump on there. But current population 7,697,451,000, and it's counting. You know, the population has grown since 2011 to 9 billion by 2037. How can this planet sustain that much life? It just can't. There's got to be a point where nature gives in, and especially at the rate we're kind of consuming everything. You know, the food, the water. This is all in here. You know, the information's there. You want to talk about climate change? We need to start talking about every aspect of climate change, even down to emails sent. I mean, that must be my email account today. Actually, got to be honest. But look, look at the food numbers as well. Huge amounts. Here, look, forest loss this year. 1,492,000 hectares. CO2s. This is tonnage. 11,589,924. It's just, the staggering amount. You put that on your toe, that's going to hurt you. It's got to be hurting the planet. Let's look at this now. What we got here. Unnourished people in the world. 835 million people in this world are undernourished. About people without safe drinking water, look. 871 million. And we keep increasing the population. We'll scroll back up to the top later and we'll have a look at the population of the food, the population of the people. It's just, look at these figures. We keep increasing and increasing and increasing world's population. It's just, the planet can't sustain it. These are the scary ones though. Look at this, energy, right? Oil pumped today, 75 million barrels. Barrels left. Yes, it looks like a big figure and you think, ooh, that sounds nice. But there's only 16,000 days worth of oil left. That's 44 years. I'm 43 now, so when I'm 87, there's no oil in the world. My little great niece, Wobblyhead, she's 1. So when she's 45, when she's my age, there's no oil left. Look at the natural gas. It's just, we can't keep pumping all of this out. I'm gonna go on to this in a bit more detail and just sort of explain the impact of some of these numbers, because I don't think the people, I just don't think the average person in the street thinks about what these numbers really mean, what these numbers really achieve. This barrels of oil, it's just, when you look at what makes oil, what makes coal, what makes gas, yeah, it's how it's made, and more importantly, how long it's taken to make. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about that coming right up. So as you can see, there is some massive numbers. Now I'm gonna hopefully get you to think about them numbers and how they really affect you. So it's a bit of an Earth history lesson, and I'm going to try and really sort of shorten this down because I could talk for hours about this, but I'm not going to. But essentially, the Earth, the planet Earth that we're on now, this beautiful marble thing that you look back from the moon and see it, etc., etc., is 4.5 billion years old, which is pretty old, right? But when it first formed, it was just like a ball of lava, just like you would out of a volcano. So all of them horrible gases and atmosphere, it's just all in the atmosphere. It was unsustainable to life. And then after about 1.5 billion years or so, the planet started cooling down, and we started getting some water on the planet. And once we started getting water on the planet, we then started getting bacteria. We've got evidence of this very first bacteria still on the planet today, right? So we know it's factual. Darwin's evolution, right? It's not a theory. It's actually, we've got evidence of it going all the way through. But what you've got to remember is 4.5 billion years, this planet has been taking these horrible gases out of the atmosphere, right? Via trees, via plants, via animals, via vegetation, via this, via that. And they've been shoving it underground, locking it underground in the form of gas, coal, oil, and the rest of it, right? It's all under there. It was all under there until about 250 years ago. And about 250 years ago, we had the start of what was called the Industrial Revolution, right? Yes, that's right, the Industrial Revolution. Blame the British, why not? Yeah, hey, look, we'll blame everything on the British. But that aside, right, 250 years ago, we really started burning all the fossil fuels, the coals, the gases, the oils, etc. And over that period of time, 250 years, we've burnt best part of half of it. In fact, with the oil, it's less than 250 years, right? It's only been about 130 years we've been really burning the oil. 130 years of burning the oil, we've only got 44 years left. We've burnt 2/3 of the oil off already. Yeah, so all of them horrible CO2s that are locked underneath the earth, 2/3 of them and the oil are back out in the atmosphere. When you look at the coal, right, so we've got about another 400 years left of the coal. So when you look at the fact, so we've done just over 1/3 of the coal. So we got 2/3 of the coal. All of them years of the planet locking these CO2s underground, and we've just released them up in 250 years. I think the problem is with this climate change is we do not know exactly what's going to happen. We can't prove it because we are in uncharted territory. We might as well be a Captain Cook on a ship, right, going off to find the Indies, and he's heading west, right? So another history lesson here. Captain Cook set sail from Britain or wherever it was, and he headed west to get to India because he wanted to prove that the world was round. He ended up in the Caribbean somewhere, in a place now known as the West Indies. Yes, and he discovered America and all of that sort of stuff. So that's where we are. We are in uncharted territory in terms of the climate, because we don't know the actual effect of releasing that many CO2s and other gases into the atmosphere. We don't know how that's going to happen. That's like getting a bottle of vodka and going, right, okay, so a bottle of vodka is going to get me drunk, right? And if you sit there and drink it over a period of a night, a whole bottle, you'll feel yourself getting a bit drunk. And there'll be at some point where you'll think to yourself, do you know what, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to have some water, and I'm going to go to bed. What we've done is we've downed a bottle of vodka, and we're waiting for getting the drunk feeling of getting drunk. That is exactly where we are with our planet. 250 years of burning half of the fossil fuels that the planet has taken 4.5 billion years to lock underground. You're there, you're clogging up London, right? Great, I love it. Absolutely, my support 100%, right? But that's not going to change anything. I don't think any individual can actually, I don't think as a mass, even if all the governments of all the world got together, and more importantly, even if the corporate companies got on board with that and all got together, we couldn't change what's going to happen in the immediate future. Because going back to the vodka scenario, we're going to get drunk, which means we're going to have massive climate change. Now I'm going to bust in a slide here. This is to do with the it's got two names. It's either called the Atlantic Conveyor or it's called the Gulf Stream. But check this out. So this here is the Atlantic Conveyor stroke Gulf Stream. Now where this is really important to climate is because this is connected to the ocean conveyor, which I'm going to drop a slide in after this. But you can see the red body of water. That's the warm water moving north through the into the upper hemisphere, up past the UK there on the right hand side. It makes us quite toasty. We're actually on the same lines of latitude as New York, and New York is an awful lot colder than us, except maybe for some of the summers. But where this really matters is with climate change and the Earth warming up by 2 degrees, is it's melting the ice at the top there. Now the reason why that's important is because this warm body of water is mainly salt based. You water down the salt, it doesn't then start sinking when it gets cold, which will then turn off this Atlantic conveyor. Now this Atlantic conveyor stroke Gulf Stream is also connected to the global conveyor, the ocean conveyor, and I'm going to bust in another slide here to have a look at that. So you can see it's all connected. You turn that one off, what else do you turn off? And what effect does that have on the planet? Now we know that this affects our weather systems, our weather patterns all over the world. There are other factors involved. You've got El Nino, right, which isn't some Mexican geezer down in South America. No, it's a warm body of water that shifts across from the coast of Australia to the southern coast of South America, across the Pacific, and it has a massive effect on the weather. You've then also got the jet streams that go around in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. We know about the jet stream in the northern hemisphere because that will affect most people in their weather today, especially here in the UK. But actually there's the same down in the southern hemisphere as well. So you've got all of these factors, but the key is this Atlantic conveyor, this ocean conveyor, because if that stops, it's going to have a huge effect on the weather. Forget, you know, when you get on your phone and you get your app and you think, oh, is it going to be nice at the weekend? You know, will I get my shorts on? Will I be able to mow the lawn? Throw that, gone. We ain't going to be able to predict nothing other than horrendousness. So you, the individual watching this video right now, is the only person that can do anything about this, and we've all got to do it. 7 billion, nearly 8 billion of us. We've all got to do it. We've all got to make that stand. So where governments aren't doing nothing, where big corporate companies aren't doing nothing, you can. Because what you can do is you can go to the likes of Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, all of the other big drinks companies, global brands, and go, I ain't buying your plastic stuff anymore. I'm going to go without. Yes, it means you're not going to get your fizzy pop. But what do you want? Do you want a planet that your children can live on? Because bearing in mind, they're not going to be able to drive a car in 44 years' time because there ain't going to be no oil, or as you Americans call it, gas, to run it. So what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it?